This episode of the Fonzcast is brought to you by
Donkey Punch,
which would like to remind you that the Fonzcast may contain adult content. Listener discretion is advised.
Will you still love me when I got nothing but my aching soul? I know you will.
You've Got Feelings with Sam.
Hey, welcome everybody to another segment of You've Got Feelings with Sam. I'm your host, Sam, and I'm here with some feelings. All right, so it's been a little while since I've done a movie, but the movie I've done for you today is going to be While You Were Sleeping. Was that it?
I think that's it, which we think we both agreed I thought was about a serial killer.
Yeah, no, it really does sound like it's just about like a lonely, creepy dude who like sneaks into women's houses and like puts on their shoes and smells their hair and then leaves.
Which I'm sure there's a movie about that too, but that's not what this one is.
No, and it's probably doesn't star Sandra Bullock either.
Which this one does, right?
Yeah, it does actually. And you know what? I haven't actually been a huge fan of Sandra Bullock in the past. I just don't like her attitude towards things.
I think that's putting it mildly for me. I really don't like Sandra Bullock. I never have, but you said she's good in this?
She actually is. You know what? I was charmed almost immediately. Like, whether or not it was the unbelievable fact that she was a subway token ticket taker who has never been asked out on her date in her entire life. She's really sad about it, too. She also has no family because they all died when she was really young. So she's just kind of hanging out in a subway booth, and
Pretty standard.
Yeah, you know, nobody's talking to her ever. She doesn't have any friends for some reason, but she's a totally lovely person.
Yeah.
You know, just normal subway token taker, gorgeous.
sad.
Yeah, it really is. But the movie kind of starts with a very, I guess, handsome gentleman. He's kind of weird looking. He's got huge eyes. I don't know the actor's name, but it would be worth looking into if you want to see a weird looking guy. But he takes the subway and she falls in love with him slowly, like, you know, people do, just without talking at all, just fall in love.
Sure.
Yeah.
Take enough tokens and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And then one day he gets pushed in front of a train by two young street hoods who just decided to push a guy in front of a train. They didn't take any money or anything. They
Rough.
just kind of ran away.
Man.
But she did a little grab and roll. Like, she saw him that he fell and she ran out and did a grab and roll and saved his life. But, you know, that 6-foot drop put him in a coma. Ooh. So it's not really a whole lot you can do about that. Anyways, they ended up in a hospital, and through some unprofessional hospital error, she's suddenly forced upon the family of this man and introduced as the fiance. And being, you know, she's never had any friends or never talked to anybody in her entire life, apparently. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't know how to say that she's not, and they just kind of accept her into their family and take her home with them like a dog that they found on the side of the road. You know, she's just like, she's cute. She's like, why wouldn't you? She's charming. That's kind of like the thing about this movie. It's really dumb, but it's charming. It's like a golden retriever. You just like, you throw the ball and it runs into the fence trying to get it, and then it comes back. It's like, hey, I got it. Yeah.
And you look at it, you're like, well, you are beautiful.
Yeah. But anyways, she hangs out with this family for a while, you know, just she's starting to enjoy herself. She's never had a family, or she had a dad, but he died. And so she's having a good time. And then Bill Pullman, who I don't know if you guys remember, he's the guy who talks like this.
Now I remember.
Yeah, from Spaceballs and Independence Day, two of the greatest space movies of all time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know he won my loyalty forever in his performance of the President Independence Day. I will follow you into the dark, Mr. President. We will not go silently into the night.
And who can forget his performance as Lone Star in Spaceballs?
Oh yeah, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I'm already on board at this point for Bill Pullman.
Sure.
And he comes in, you know, he's not convinced. He knows something's up because it's like he can see that Sandra Bullock is this charming young subway token taker.
Sure.
The only job she could get. But so yeah, they just start talking, you know, hanging out and stuff. They realize that they got more in common than they originally thought. Mm-hmm. You know, and he seems like he just stepped out of an F-15 fighter pilot like plane. He's just like, hey baby.
Yes.
All that good stuff. And so anyways, like, drama ensues. He's trying to figure out what she's all about. She's got her neighbor underneath her, the only man who's apparently ever been interested in her. They live in Chicago, by the way, and he's just got the thickest Brooklyn accent you've ever heard in your entire life. Just all of the gold chains. It's really the full package.
Yeah.
You know, Bill Pullman finds out about this guy, and the guy introduces himself as her boyfriend. So there's obviously that drama ensues,
yeah.
and it's uncomfortable for a while, I gotta tell you guys.
Sure.
But they work through that, and, you know, there's the classic guilt give and take, you know, like, oh, it's my fault, no, it's your fault, oh, all that stuff. stuff. But then eventually, the weird-looking handsome dude wakes up, and as one of the the overly stereotyped Jewish characters, introduced him as he's a putz, is what he said, and he that is actually a good word to describe him. He is a putz. He's just not super intelligent. He's just he's a nice guy, but he doesn't really have anything like any kind of quality behind that.
Okay, yeah.
And it's pretty obvious to her pretty quickly that that's the case, and her brother already knows, or his brother already knows all that, and so there's just tension and drama. But he decides that because he's convinced, he doesn't recognize her as his fiance, because that's what all his family is saying, that he has amnesia and that this is a fresh start, so he's just gonna go with it. And he's like, oh yes, Sandra Bullock, totally. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just wake up and this
So
is my fiance.
yeah, they decide to have the wedding in the hospital for some reason, 2 days after he wakes up.
At least they didn't have it down on the train tracks and the subway.
This is where I fell.
This is where it all started for me. With the grab and roll.
Yeah. That's where I stood with no family over there.
And then when I saved you on the tracks, I had a family.
Look at that. But the guy from Young Frankenstein is the dad, and he's pretty cool. Along with the other, the family, it's weird because it dances between being extremely annoying and incredibly charming, but also totally just romantic comedy bullshit the whole way through. But I love that bullshit. I gotta say, I eat it up. I was expecting to not like this movie at all, and I sat down, I cracked a beer, and I just watched the whole thing, and I didn't even finish the beer.
Wow. Yeah, when we were talking about movies, and this one came up, and both Sam said first, I don't really like Sandra Bullock, and I'm glad you went through with it.
Yeah.
Sounds like it may have paid off.
It did, honestly. I didn't cry at this one, which I'm on. If I'm being honest, I have cried at other ones. Love Actually is one of those. Romancing the Stone, another classic romantic comedy, chick flick, some would say.
Sure.
That's another one. I don't know. It's hard for me not to tear up at that.
Yeah, I'm tearing up a little bit right now
Yeah.
thinking about that.
It also,
So,
yeah.
If you were going, would you advise the Fonzcast listeners that they should watch this movie or they should not?
I would, if you're looking for a movie to not really, you don't have to expect much from it. Just walk. You don't have to pay it too much attention. It's not super complicated. It's the same thing the whole movie. Girl gets thrust into uncomfortable situation. Uncomfortable situation turns nice, and then just lies about it for most of the movie. And then everything's fine at the end because she makes a broad declaration that she loves everybody. And they accept her, and it's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you're in the mood for kind of a lighthearted, not really super intelligent movie, then I would recommend it. Yeah. And honestly, I'm gonna have to start watching Sandra Bullock movies now because I think I might have changed my tune.
Wow. That's a strong statement.
Yeah. So I gotta say, out of 10, feeling hearts, I don't know. We haven't really just figured out a rating system with this yet.
Yeah. What should it be? I mean, I don't want to say it I don't want to use
broken hearts, because that's not really the point of most of these movies.
Yeah.
And swollen hearts sounds weird.
Yeah.
Kissy faces.
Yeah.
Cherubs. Cherubs.
Cherubs.
We got it.
Okay.
So I would say I would give this about a 7.5 cherubs out of 10.
Okay. Wow.
It gave me some significant feelings, Josh.
There you go.
Yeah, and I hope if you guys decide to watch it, it gives you significant feelings as well.